Episode 52 this week is the year in review.
Yes, our rookie season.
Yeah.
4,423 minutes up
That's
to this
all.
point, 73.7 hours.
Put some reps in.
Yeah.
Rookie year.
Continuing education. Here's a comment for goal-oriented juniors.
Mm-hmm.
Do your homework first, your GPA, your SAT, and there is the UTR.
I wouldn't have taken that. Back in the day, I was ditching school in 5th grade to hit the backboard.
Well, you're from out west. You would have taken the ACT.
Yeah, I did. 36.
36. Perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
We're starting to tell kids when they're in the gym, we're starting to ask them, what are you listening to? And there's all sorts of positives to listen to music. But we know screen time, 3 hours is minimum. Some kids are 5-6 hours.
Little Post Malone.
On the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So just 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
Yeah.
We're trying to help young tennis players with their tennis IQ so they could listen.
Precept upon precept. Here a little, there a little.
With competitive savvy.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, to listen to the podcast on tennis math or Bill Jacobson stats.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In our inner circle, I could go back so many years. I was teaching tennis before you were born, Fitzell. Old.
Man.
Matt Clore, he's in our inner circle. And I remember at one point, he said he was scheduling an hour a day. That goes back to our, when we just started with Facebook. I'm not really a social media person, as you know. but Eric Oberhammer, great guy, one of our former students, unfortunately fell victim to leukemia when he was bedridden. He started our initial Facebook page.
Yeah.
But now, and Eric, I mean, he died within a month once he started that, but 5,000 pages. With your efforts, we have 500 plus Instagram posts, 5,000 pages on Facebook. And then now this crazy podcast, everybody and their brother has a podcast, and we're out there. We hope that it's helped. Certainly we need feedback. You can certainly send us any thoughts you have on improving our podcast. I have this down.
Yes.
Advice for interns. The coaches that we've trained in the past or currently training. Get a headset. Once again, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Old people like myself, go for a walk.
Yeah, get some earbuds, wireless buds, and
We've talked about
take them everywhere.
We've talked about this before. Certainly we don't want to come across too egotistical, arrogant, but our confidence is really not ours when it comes to tennis information. We're just, we're not telling people what we think. We're rather trying to tell people what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really like to say what's our content. Certainly it's indirect, especially from the pillars. We'll go through the pillars. Interviews. We had 10 interviews. No, 12. Dave Anderson.
This is in order, yeah?
No, not quite in order.
All right, okay.
My note-taking.
Jeez. Steve?
Without glasses. You'll get old one day. So Miron Mann, Matt Clore, Richard Hernandez, Rob Krychek, his son, Rob and Sherry Krychek. Austin was just in the Olympics.
That's cool.
Joey and Spencer Johnson, kid who's UCLA bound.
Natalia Sorokina.
And her tennis family, she's from Russia. She talked about Russian tennis, just like Hernandez and Mann talked about Canadian tennis. And she grew up spending some time at the
Spartak Club.
The
Moscow.
famous article by Daniel Coyle.
Yeah.
And then her son, her daughter, son too, Valentin, still playing, coming back from an injury, but Tasia.
Yeah.
Dave Secker, NC State college coach. Scotty Perelman, another college coach, University of Florida, talked to us after they won the NCAAs.
Yeah.
Dave Fish, longtime Harvard coach. We had Kevin Record with high school tennis.
Yeah,
Pied Piper.
Vasily Gurinov.
Good Irish name, Vasily.
Stringy.
Stringy.
Yeah, we talked about stringing with Vasily.
With the pillars. Once again, Jim Verdict, team coaching. Welby Van Horn, balance approach. Bill Jacobson, statistics. Jim Lair, mental toughness. Peter Burwash, professionalism, communication. Harry Hopman, fitness. Dennis Vandermeer, so many things with all of these, but group dynamics, progressions, corrective
Lastly?
measures.
And lastly?
Vic, Uncle Vic, I'd say science, fact-based information.
Yeah.
Just again, a review. We had the intro, we had player development, we had tennis math, fact-based instruction, serve, forehand, tennis Canada, parenting, volley, a father-son relationship.
I'm just going to let you go ahead and read those off. I'm going to take a sip of my special juice here.
Yeah, I just have water. I'm an athlete. Personality, brain typing, my brain type, DUMB.
Yeah.
Idiot's got too many letters, huh, for you?
No, it's STUD.
Backhand, overhead, Team Russia, the one-handed backhand slice, string and stringing, return to serve, single strategy. So people that have been through our podcasts, there's 52 now to go back to. College tennis, doubles, high school tennis, teaching young players. We covered certification, TV tennis, tennis tech, the program we had for tennis teachers. We just had 2 sessions with Q&A.
A couple of Q&A sessions.
Upcoming, we didn't cover, for example, so many things: specialty shots, emergency shots, different type of drills,
Yeah.
ideas for creative practice, ideas for competitive formats. I think really just our alumni, we say our network too. We have many, many people from years gone by, decades. Issues, the problems of tennis, solutions. I think always there's room
We've touched upon those for sure throughout.
Yeah, I think there's always room for more parental advice. You know, we could go tennis in this country or that country, how it varies a little bit, and how it certainly changed. I know in '87, I was fortunate to go to the former Czechoslovakia. How has it changed from back then to now? Current events, current trends, even pro matches.
Yeah. Talk about just reviewing players, reviewing matches.
But for us, ways to improve the GreatBase. Here's another name for you to take a shot at. Ilya. Last name, Ilya.
I mean, our Ilya?
Yeah, our Ilya.
Semenov. Come on, man.
Say it fast.
Maybe Semenov.
Say it slow.
Semenov.
Yeah, I love what he did with the Metrodome, the beats to the checkpoints and doing it at different rates. So it's always for input.
Yeah.
With the interviews, I've asked a number of people. Here's just a short list. Jack Groppel's given a yes, and Jim Lair, Jim Verdick's son. That's what we'd like to do. Obviously, Jim Lair can reinforce Jim Lair.
Yeah.
Jack Groppel, he'll have so many great things to say about Braden. But Jim Verdick's son said that he'd get on with this. Mm-hmm. Manny Diaz, University of Georgia.
Yeah.
He was taught to play by Welby, where I was taught to teach by Welby. But, just to go deeper into, why the Welby Van Horn system. Of all our podcasts, that was the longest, 2 hours, I think, and 45 minutes.
Welby, yeah. And we started breaking them up. Two parts. Going, let's do 2 parts. Yeah.
And believe it or not, we've had a couple people tell us that we shouldn't break them up. Just if you want to make it 5 hours, make it 5 hours.
Yeah.
But I think overall, we'll come to that at the end, is that, again, we want your feedback, but we should shorten them up. Talk to Mark Spann about many things he could share with us. He's a club owner. He's been associated with us. He's a tennis techer, maybe 30 plus years. His mother,
Wimbledon champ.
Yeah, and what she did after he returned back to South Africa. There are a lot of people, like, say, Steve Roberts, Ferris State graduate. I think perhaps if somebody didn't really listen in detail, that we were saying that at one point the Ferris State program, it always changes from one director to the next and one group 1 year to the next. But that was more of a briefcase program compared to what we ran, was a ball hopper program. But he's just somebody who's doing a great job with juniors, and he's following really
Northern California.
Yeah, to the path. Peaches Kukimore, Brandon Flanagan, Kyle Rocrow. Kyle.
It's French. I was go.
Give us Kyle Rocrow or
Kyle Lacroix.
Lacroix. Is it the American or the French? What's he go with?
Kyle Lacroix.
He's somebody who could help us. I believe that he certainly is much more current and could give us much more of an update on the USPTA. Always like to talk to Dave Goetz at the at Penn. Asked him. But then again, we've asked a lot of people. David Goetz is in a restaurant, starts talking to a pretty girl who's on a date, but the date's in the bathroom. And the woman says to him, I have a date. David Goetz said, I'm David Goetz, and whatever David wants, David gets. All these years later, they're husband and wife.
Oh, boy.
Fun story. Not too many coaches have a PhD. We went through that, I think, piled higher and deeper, but we don't want to pick on anybody who's been in school for a long time. But no, he's a highly educated guy. People have asked us, and this is just, again, they've asked us to interview other people, but I know Raven Klaassen, who was a Wimbledon finalist, fifth set, we're pulling for him.
Yeah.
Win a Wimbledon title. He's the one who lost his serve, too. Austin Krajicek was just an Olympian. There's a contrast there. I mean, I certainly spent time with Austin when he was in college and even as a pro, but he was with us when he was, for the most part, really young.
Younger, yeah.
But Raven came in and he would have really great recall for having to make all these changes in the game. People have asked us to interview the one and only Ty Tucker. I've heard him on, what's it called, Crack Rackets?
Yeah.
There's only one Ty Tucker. So
Spent
we've asked
time with him.
for people repeats. Comes with my Dave Anderson, Dave Secker, Scotty Perelman. Again, our friends from the Great White North. So we could do that too. I've got down a few things on mistakes. One take, no editing. I know that you do edit, but when I think of editing, it's that we're not adding or deleting.
No.
Lots of mistakes. Jim Courier, I'd have to look it up. Is he playing from Plant City or Dade City? I one time did a clinic. I think that those little things can upset
Or
people.
Dade County.
Dade County's down in Miami.
That's what I believe, if my Jim Courier is correct.
Dade County, it goes Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. I would go for that as the correct answer.
Yeah.
Tangents, we apologize. I never go off on a tangent, but I know Andy does, so I'd like to apologize on behalf of Andy.
Once in a while, I just snooze out.
Unfinished thought. Sometimes I start a thought, and Andy doesn't pick up on the fact that I've lost my train of thought. There you go. The light's on, but nobody's home. Just the last podcast, and signing off with that, my...
What did you do?
I think the three biggest problems in tennis is it's too expensive to learn how to play. It's too expensive to learn how to play, too expensive to play. And it just seems like it's a business.
Yeah, to get competitive matches, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're having to travel all over the place.
Oh, I know the parents are paying more money and their kids are playing less tennis. Sometimes they're playing short sets to 4, they're playing no ad. They're not playing 3-setters, playing 10-point tiebreakers.
Yeah, no dubs very often.
Yeah, or this is, I think, the biggest crock that we're going to play 6-game sets, so we're preparing the kids for college tennis.
Yeah. 6 games, no ad.
But I think tennis, we've got to try to do our best to make it a sport again, where it's too much of a business, too much of an activity, glorified babysitting. I think in closing, our vision is to have people teaching, learning, playing anywhere and everywhere, the garage, basement, driveway, parking lot, field, with the idea of kids teaching kids, peer teaching. I do think a lot of tennis parents, they have that image of the tennis parent from hell where they're rattling the fence and the police have to come and escort them off the property. But so the vision of tennis, it doesn't have to be a conspiracy where it's, a tennis teaching professional charging lots of money per hour. There's some places where and I understand both sides, where they don't even let you use a basket of balls. You take lessons someplace and you can only take 6 balls on the court. Mm-hmm. But that's because if the kids are spraying the balls all over the place. But also, too, I think it's a matter of no, you can only have a lot of balls on the court if you're paying X amount of dollars per hour.
Yeah.
A mission, growing the game. We got, the idea to improve the level of teaching and coaching. Having more Americans playing American college tennis. carrying the torch for tennis teachers from the past. Make sure there is a historical perspective.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah, stop the bleeding. The game needs help. Uniting tennis people. I mean, again, can we agree that it's a rectangle? Can we agree that water runs downhill? People ask me periodically, what do you do? And I say, I fight ignorance. Mm-hmm. There's a bad combination, ignorance and arrogance. So format. You can comment on this. Making the podcast shorter. As I said, some people said just the opposite. We need feedback. Really, in the end, we've got to zone on, as you always say, Andy, is giving value. But for a review in the rookie year, I mean, it's a body of work. Once again, Welby Van Horn. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes. You know, there'll never be another Welby. To me, it's the best way to start a beginning student.
There's never going to be another podcast episode that's on Welby Van Horn for 2 hours and 43 minutes either.
Unless we do it. Tragic, his approach to teaching is, overall, it's not understood and it's forgotten. It's basically the balance method. It's static balance. Mm-hmm. Now you get ridiculed, you get laughed at if you teach static balance. You know, the action method, movement, game-based. Roger Federer started with
static balance.
Static balance. It worked okay for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to year number 2. What are your thoughts as we close it out?
Well, it's been fun, very educational. I think we've had a good mix. You know, we've covered all the strokes too. I mean, we could even go in and just say a couple of things about each one of these little episodes that we've done, you know, some of the greatest hits. But I think some of my favorite interviews, you know, Coach Kevin Record definitely had a lot of energy. Scott Perlman, those were really fun. I really enjoyed the interview with Rob Crouch. I mean, really all of them. There was so much, and going through the strokes, I know we got a lot of good feedback from people from that. I did personally, just like, hey, that helps a lot. And I know sometimes it's been tough for people to sit for 2 or 3 hours and try to listen to it. But the feedback I've gotten is that people listen to it in chunks, you know, driving back and forth, commuting, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that you were good and I was real, but together we were not real good.
I think year 2, we can definitely shorten things up and bring some more interviews and be a little more off the cuff, you know, less notes and that kind of thing, and have some fun. There will be some changes, I'm sure, and yeah, feedback's welcome. This could be the shortest podcast ever if we do it. I mean, we're at 18 minutes right now, Stephen.
I think with you showed this to me just yesterday. I'm helping 2 players in a developmental phase of instruction, and the person, there's 2 or 3, but there's one comment. Yeah. This guy needs to shut up.
Yeah, shut this guy up.
And I said, I'm glad he's not listening to our podcast. He listened to me for 1 minute and 30 seconds on a little short tip. But that's just so typical. And to avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. And come back and take a second look. You know, we have 2 young girls here, 7 years old. Actually, a tennis techer, Doug Tomlin, great guy, funny guy. He's got so many great lines. He's a great coach from the knee down. In other words, it's a coach who just gets the kids to really run and move their feet, and there's very much needed.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, two 7-year-old girls, twins, and you know, we document the development, what's taking place in 1 week. And this is what they looked like when they came in on day 1. And, you know, they went to Disney World for a day. And I said, it's a lot more fun here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Tom Brady embraced the boredom with so many different quotes. I don't know the key to success, but I know the key to failure. Make everybody happy. Typically junior tennis, and that's a big emphasis for us, is kids go to the club and they're happy Monday through Friday. And they go to the tournament on Saturday and not too happy. Mm-hmm. Dave Anderson's name's come up quite a bit. They call this drill 3 zone, and they teach kids to hit the ball well, so it's a very good drill. I think a lot of people call it tennis Olympics. I mean, it's a fun drill. I mean, some college tennis teams do it at the beginning of a match to get loose, have some fun.
Offense, defense. Yeah.
Well, you put
a lot of names for it.
You go to an indoor club. I've done that so much, traveling, working as a consultant, helping people with their tennis teaching, their stroke production, their production.
Mm-hmm.
So indoor court time is precious. So you'll see, okay, they've got a bay of courts. There's 3 courts. 2 courts are empty. End of practice, all the parents are coming to pick the kids up. And there's 2 kids on one side of the net on the other baseline. And then there might be, 12 kids lined up in pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And you play a point, the coach feeds in the approach shot. So if you win that, you tag up, you go back to the baselines, and then they feed in a high approach volley. You win that, you go back.
The overhead.
Different ways to do it. You go back to the baseline, you tag up, and then you feed a lob. And then if they win, they run the other side.
Yeah.
And it's just really organized chaos unless kids have been taught to hit the ball.
Yeah.
Typically, a junior will say, oh, that's a dumb drill. Well, that means you can't do it. With parents, if your kid comes home and they hated practice, that means it's a good thing. I was in Philadelphia one time.
Depends.
I was doing a clinic for Arvin Arvindon.
Yeah.
And it was, I believe it was 1984, where Villanova won the NCAAs. I should be able to tell you this gentleman's name. So his son goes home the first day of camp, complains, second day of camp, and father goes, sounds like basketball. Sounds like basketball. We never get to play. We just stand in one place over and over. You got to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And the father goes, sounds like my basketball career.
Yep.
So the dad's really nice, and he wanted to know if he could come to the last day of camp, which we had progressed a little bit. We had at least gone from the ready position to the unit turn after 6 days. And he was on the NCAA national basketball team. But basketball players just understand from their position, shooting a foul shot. Like D1 practices are over. You got to stay here and make 300 shots from a standstill position. Tragedy, Kobe Bryant, he would want to make 400 shots, and he'd be on the game floor when the opposing team would come in. He'd get off the bus, and he'd go 351.
Yeah.
Look at the guy's little intimidation, 352.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, we talk about, being game-based and form-based, but to put those two together and make it principle-based, and then it's up to the coach to bring, the dynamic energy and the fun.
Cole Reeves from Arkansas is here. He's a great tennis teacher. He used to tell me a baseball drill where they start in really close and then they move back, and how they get so far apart, they just keep increasing the distance, and how it's so much to do with helping their hand speed. I mean, if anybody's been around baseball players, and that used to help Americans out so much back in the 70s, where everybody could throw a baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kobe Bryant, a 3-year-old, don't get a lower hoop, have them be one step from the basket, have them just do this for a couple months, and when they start getting the majority of the shots in, just take one step back.
One step back, yeah.
But I want to play big time now.
Nothing fancy. Yeah, basic shots, winning matches.
Yeah, it's like the kids who grow up on big skis, or they, now it's like a tennis racket for a while it was Sampras, now it's Federer. You walk in and there's the cutout life-size poster of Roger Federer. And, every year you need to buy a racket that's 1 inch bigger. Coming back to Welby Van Horn, mentioned that I was blown away. Someone said they sent me, that's something we do on the podcast. You have the record of Welby is just to play that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to play that. Welby Van Horn on tennis teaching. But so someone sends me, it's a clip. It's an audio clip. This is many years ago. Here's a Q&A with Welby Van Horn. It was one question. Mm-hmm. What is the best tennis tip? And it was to take a rubber band, put it at the end of the racket, have a kid choke up on the racket. So if they're in the pizza position, they go like this, the butt of the racket hits the wrist, and they do this on the forehand.
If you fold your wrist forward, then the butt cap hits you.
Yeah, same thing on your forehand.
Yeah.
With, progressions. You don't want to do progressions to the point, get back to Braden and programming the brain. No such thing as little strokes for little folks is, there are some adjustments, like Nadal hitting the two-handed forehand. It's great to have a young kid, hit a two-handed forehand, because then they have a better chance of having a conventional grip, keeping the racket up high, not having this swing go way behind their body.
Yeah. Yeah. So many young juniors try to hit the ball too hard. So they end up having those big backswings and they never get out of it.
No, when we put the course together, Tennis Intelligence Applied, we thought, incoming coaches would look at the clip and go, let me listen to that again, And so I think sometimes the art, how do you say it? If you try to hit the ball hard, you won't hit it right. But if you try to hit the ball right, you'll be able to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Just effortless effort. Braden used to say that that he looked elegant. He made it look like ballet.
Yeah.
Running technique. Certainly this year number one, we didn't really cover fitness. There's so much to fitness, but just running technique. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm beating up American kids, but the typical American juniors ranked in their section, you put them on a track and their mile time, they're hard pressed to break 8 minutes.
Yeah. They don't have running programs.
And, I don't think junior tennis kids are really prepared for college tennis. The honeymoon's over once a kid signs. There's some whining and dining during the recruiting process, but a lot of college coaches, I'm sure we did talk about that. We talked about college tennis in length, but just to reemphasize, it takes a pretty good effort to break a 5-minute mile. Watching these Olympians, it's like
machines.
Jim Courier said when I was in the Olympic, I thought I was an athlete before I stayed in the Olympic Village.
Yeah. Yeah, we were watching some of the running last night, and they were just machines in the hurdles,
Yeah, and that's, YouTube clips are like potato chips. We started off by saying too much screen time, but you can give you kids YouTube assignments. Actually, Cole Reeves, young guy, he brought up Steve Prefontaine's name. Kids should know who Steve Prefontaine was and read about him.
There's always going to be positives and negatives in technology, so it's just how you use it. It's a tool like anything else.
Yeah, now it's, what would you say? It's digital. You actually, it's visual, screen touch or whatever the term for that is. Yeah. But you used to have to push the buttons. I guess that was digital. But kids could actually be talking to the parents and they could be sending a text message. So their left hand's on the table, put their right hand underneath the table.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they would be they were so good, they could send a text message without looking.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
There's some autocorrect in there as well, yeah.
But the thing is that can you hit a volley?
Yeah.
I mean, you always come back to the Olympics, you see some kid doing a backflip on a balance beam, and it's not that dangerous to go to the net.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be great to get feedback from you listeners, and let us know what you'd like to hear, what you'd like to have us talk about as well, or people to be interviewed.
We did talk about Kim Wittenberg. Unplugged and unleashed. What do you really think? Tell us what you really think.
We're going to keep it G-rated right now. It's going to be Disney for the family.
Yeah, I think Miran Man, he true Canadian boy, he slipped up a little bit.
Gosh dang it, Miran made me have to do some extra editing.
Hernandez and Man, they're both paper Canadians. One was born in England, one was born in South Africa.
Yeah.
But
all right.
The Great White North.
Well,
talk a little more about hockey in year number 2.
Hockey.
Street hockey, knee hockey, broom hockey,
Miracle.
Ball hockey.
Come on, Herb.
Do that again.
No one's saying that. Come on, Herb.
Again.
Great movie.
Again. The legs feed the wolf. I mean, mind vitamins. Jeff Piesinski was here the other day. Kids don't wear loafers anymore. We used to have to say so many things. It's no wonder you wear loafers. You're such a loafer.
You mean like penny loafers?
Penny loafers.
Yeah.
With lazy begins with L. Losing begins with L. Work begins with W. Winning begins with W. With
oh man, you're going deep.
Yeah, I got some mind vitamins. What happens when motivation to me means to move. When it's unfortunate when you start trying to pump up the troops. Many times what happens is you just motivate the motivated. And some of those kids are like, no, you need to take a chill pill. You need to take a nap. You're working too hard. The old thing, you pull a horse, you don't push a horse, take a horse to water.
Yeah.
But Fitzell, I think it's time to check out your review. Thank you for year number 1. I hope that it made a little bit of a difference and helped people with, playing the game better, teaching the game better, understanding the game better.
Yeah, I think a big thank you for everybody listening, putting up with us, and taking a few notes.
Yeah, and next year I think we should call GreatBase Solid Fundamentals.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Are you
do that.
GreatBase? No, are you GreatBase?
No, we're solid fun now.
We're Solid Fundamentals.
I like it. All right, everybody. Until next year's podcast. Until next time.
We taking a couple months off, or is it going to start right away?
Yeah, I think we may
Take 6 months off?
we may take 6 months off. No.
Oh, I don't think we could
No.
take too much
Keep it
time
going.
off. Maybe 6 days and then start another one.
Yep, that's about right. All right, thanks again. Find us online on social media at GreatBase Tennis website. You can reach out to us again with any feedback you'd like. info@greatbasetennis.com.
Yeah, and I think next year we're going to get Fitzell to plug in his personality. I think he kind of held back this year. I think he needs to let loose.
Well, I'm nice to you.
Well, I do think with the pillars, I'm the old guy who, I know you spent so much time with Vic, but
No, you just don't shut up, man. That's what it is. That old Pillars excuse.
the old, yeah.
You just shut your big yapper. No, it's been.
Where's that come from?
Been Tommy boy.
Tommy boy.
Tommy boy.
With what's his name? Foley.
Matt Foley. Yeah.
I lived in a van down by
Chris Farley, not Tommy boy.
Chris
But
Farley.
I mean Tommy boy. Yeah.
Lived in a van down by the
Why
river.
don't you just shut your big yapper?
I've actually showed that at coaching workshops.
Yeah.
We've hired a motivational speaker. There are many good things to have. You got to have laughs. You got to have some fun. But, Andy met his wife at this tennis camp we ran in Dusseldorf. The great Dave Squire set us up. His beautiful club.
Yeah.
And American parents are really shocked. Where are they going to stay? They're going to sleep on the floor of the indoor courts.
What?
Yeah, no, but really, they're going to stay. But it's the safest way, best way to observe players. And you say, okay, the girls go to the left, boys go to the right.
Well, can I get him a 700 count thread sheets at least? Can I get him a purple pillow?
You don't have to travel with your own pillow. But with that, you turn the lights off and kids go to bed with their phone. It looks like a Christmas tree.
It's like a concert. Yeah.
It's, parents, your kids get home, have them put that cell phone on the kitchen counter. They're getting very good with their thumbs, but, and again, beating up kids, watch these Olympic athletes, obviously people are after it. But we just started a practice where Cole Reeves and I are slapping ground strokes or ground balls, where balls bounded 3 or 4 times. And it's okay. Billie Jean King looked like a shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
Her brother, Randy Muffett, was a pro baseball player.
Yeah.
San Francisco Giants. And, they're having some fun with it, but, no, you're palm down. You see me, you're palm up,
Yeah.
And, some kids that play like a 12 UTR, you got palm up when you throw.
Yeah.
And, we just had kids throwing the ball. Just throw the ball, just play catch, but just notice how you're letting it out to the right.
Yeah.
Because you don't serve out to the right, you serve to the left.
Yeah.
And you won't get any arm speed.
And you go over your head.
Then they think, well, this is kind of boring, but they don't really know. Good myelin. This is a myelin farm. We're trying to produce myelin. So then we do a drill where we just crank the ball as high as a skyscraper, pop fly.
Yeah.
And repeating myself over and over again. But that is how you learn. So shut up, you yapper.
Hey, why don't you just no? All right. Yeah, a little tangent there again, but we'll sign off. We'll try it this time. We got 34 minutes. This could be one of the shortest podcasts ever. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've gotten a lot of value out of this episode. A little laugh here and there. And until next time, I'll be Zayn. Adios, nos vemos, hasta la vista, hasta la pizza.
Watch the ball. Keep your head still. Don't sneak a peek. Yeah, thanks, everybody.
All right, kids.
Rookie season's over. No sophomore slump for us.
Adios.